In a world where connections are everything, where only the brave will take on the challenge.
Docking crew, this is BP 2024. We are starting our final connect procedure in T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Where their endeavors become your successes.
BP 2024, we have you connected. You are clear to open hatches. Earth, we can confirm connection. You are clear to begin transmissions at full speed.
It's time. Your time. Time to connect. Business Pilot. Now connected to thousands of other apps via Zapier. What connections will you make?
Well, thanks for joining us. Really excited today as we launch the Zapier integration. So it is, as I've said, a really exciting development, not just for Business Pilot, but more importantly for installers everywhere. Our mission is to improve the lives of installers. That's what we exist for. And Business Pilot is definitely going to do that with its integration with Zapier. So a little bit of background: in 2022, Business Pilot led the way in joining two pieces of installation software together, and back then that was a Fencer API for the window industry, and also pricing engine, so Tommy Trinder API. And at that point, we already knew that this was just the beginning of how we could save installers so many hours if we just connected up the different systems they were using. Connecting software like that has already saved thousands of hours, literally across the users. But these were common apps used within a specific sector. What we're now looking at with the Zapier integration is really taking that to a whole new level. So when we look at Zapier, it's a connector. So it connects all these other pieces of software, some of which you might use, some of which you might not. But what it allows is for the data to flow between different applications to save you having to retype information and to automate some of your processes. When we talk about other apps, it's thousands, as we've just heard in the trailer. Currently, it's over 7,000. As I say, some of those you'll know, others you just won't. But the important thing is that any app, any software worth its weight is already connected to Zapier. So today I'm really proud to add Business Pilot to that list and allow our users to have even greater connectivity. So in this next session, what I want to do is talk about what Zapier is, to give you an introduction, and also introduce a Business Pilot user who's been really keen on Zapier for some time and has done a huge job already just in the beta phase. So I'm going to introduce you to Remy a little bit later. First of all, then, so what is Zapier? We've said that it's a connector. It connects information between different applications. So what might that mean? Well, for example, it might connect your Business Pilot with MailChimp. How does it do that? Well, we just use simple triggers and actions. Essentially, if something happens over here, do something else over there. And when we combine that together, we call that a zap. Now, of course, you can have as many zaps as you want. And when you run these zaps as many times as you want, they are known as tasks. So the key things that we really need to know is what a zap contains, a trigger and an action. And every time you run it, it's a task. So let's have a look then at what we've already found out just in the first minute or so of talking about it. a zap contains a trigger and an action. You can have as many zaps as you like. And each time it runs, it's called a task. Okay, that's all simple enough so far. So now the good stuff. The really clever stuff with Zapier is you can have things like multi-step tasks. So I might say, for example, every time a new inquiry is added to Business Pilot, not only do I want you to add them into a MailChimp campaign, I'd also like that information stored in a Google Sheet. Of course, at the same time, if that becomes a lead in Business Pilot, you could take them out of a list in MailChimp and add them to a new list in MailChimp. You could remove them from your Google Sheet. You could add some more information to the same sheet. So there's lots of things we can do when we start thinking of multi-step zaps. The other thing we can do is search information. So it's not just about blindly pushing information from one system to another. We can say, first of all, check whether the information is there. So it could be that you're pulling information across from your Facebook Messenger, but of course, you first want to check whether the lead already exists. Does that inquiry already exist in Business Pilot before I just go adding another version of it? So for that, we can search information within Business Pilot or other apps that have the search actions available. The other thing we can do is we can filter. We can say, well, actually, I only want to take those leads if. So you might say, well, I don't want to have a lead enter into Business Pilot if certain criteria are not met. Or if they are met, then definitely don't include them. So there's clever things we can do, such as filters. On top of that, Zapier has a whole load of built-in apps. I mean, these apps are normal sort of like utilities. So you could email from Zapier. You can have tables in Zapier. There's so many things that you can do just within Zapier before you connect out to over 7,000 other applications. So what I want to do now is go straight into it and actually talk to Remy from Smart Vision Systems. I want to bring it alive a little bit by sharing Remy's experiences. Remy's been on the beta test. So on the beta phase, where Business Pilot has already been live with Zapier now for a few weeks, enabling people who are au fait with Zapier to go ahead, build up some zaps. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Remy Grushka into the live stream.
Hello, Elton.
So I think the last time we had this chance, of course, was the Elton Chats 2 videos. By the way, if you've not already seen those, they're really good. We just talked to Business Pilot users about their experiences. We didn't bring up Zapier because this is obviously quite specific now. I know that right from the early days, you guys, let's face it, you know your tech, and by the way, that's not going to be every installer. So I understand there's going to be people watching this video where already we've gone, that sounds great, but I'm lost already. That's fine. We're going to be here to help. You guys do know your tech, and you've always wanted to connect things, and therefore it's a really natural thing for you to be on that beta test. And I'm glad that you have been, because you've gone a bit crazy, which is great. Remy, I wonder if you could just share with people, I suppose, what kind of things you've been connecting with Business Pilot.
Yeah, thanks, Elton. So with Zapier as a business, we've been using it for quite a long while to actually integrate a lot of our tools and a lot of our internal systems together. With this Business Pilot link, it's actually allowed us to use that central database that we've built within Business Pilot, all the contracts, all the leads, all the purchase orders that we've got to build and actually push into other systems. So the two core Zaps that we've built already are the new lead and the new contract. We've had team members that all of our team work on Microsoft Teams. We're a Microsoft company, and they've always said it would be good if we could have a team group for every single new contract so that all the relevant people can be in. So that's the first thing that we did. as a new contract gets created, it automatically creates a brand new team group. It puts all the contract details in there, the contacts, the addresses, everything that you need to essentially be clued into that contract. From that point onwards, it then also pushes into a custom reporting system that we've got. It pushes into a web platform that we've got that pushes that through to customers, and it actually creates that customer journey that we've always wanted to develop fully. It's also saved us so much time to actually not have to double input and information across. And the beauty of it is it doesn't do error generation. So as you input it by hand, you might type in the wrong contract number, the wrong address, or the wrong information. Because we've already typed that once into Business Pilot, we can then push that through Zapier into the relevant other platforms and have that automatically generated across. One Zap that we really, really like is the phone system integration that we've built. Essentially, the second a new contact gets created into BP, it automatically pushes into our phone system. And we've had customers that have submitted an online form, they've called us, and we've answered, "Hello, Mr. John, how are you?" And it's absolutely blown their minds that we know their name after just 30 seconds of putting it into the website.
That to me is really important, because it's okay doing this tech for tech's sake, and I've had that conversation before. In fact, potentially we've had the conversation, but anybody can do tech stuff because they're tech savvy and it just sounds cool. I've never been a fan of that. I love technology, but I've never been a fan of just doing it because you can. For me, it's about what business improvement will it actually bring about. And if you can call somebody, in fact, I remember the first time it ever happened for me, it was like with the local taxi firm, because they all started obviously implementing these similar systems. You're calling in on your mobile, and so they know who you are. And so, of course, Uber got rid of that. But anyway, that's another story. So for me, it's about what we can do to improve either your efficiency, your, take the stress out, but also the customer journey for your customer. Because when you talk to them and say, "Hey, Bob," all of a sudden you stand out against the rest of your competition. So those kind of automations to me are really, really powerful. So I know when we were talking earlier, there's loads of sort of ways you've connected it. You've done a lot. One of the things that I really liked, we were talking about, and I kind of, in the explanation earlier about filters, search, and so on, I'm talking about basics, and especially to somebody who uses Zapier a lot. What I didn't quite cover, because I think it's like a next level, is the conditional things you can do with Zapier. And when we were chatting, I know you've set some of those up. So I wonder if you could just sort of share with people quite how that works.
Yeah, so the conditional element actually has allowed us to filter through and build different customer journeys for different types of customers. Some of our customers are big commercial customers and they like the process slightly more tailored. Some are the trade customers and actually they want minimal information. They want to know when, what, and what time it's coming, and that's it. And as the contracts move through Business Pilot, depending on the type of contract that they follow a completely different journey. So our trade customers will receive a text message with that update because they prefer text message comms, and they'll have a tag on Business Pilot saying contact via SMS, and it will automatically pick that up and forward bits via SMS. If they've got a new invoice that comes in, it will text it to them because they prefer a text. Our commercial customers, they actually prefer things to go to certain project emails. Again, we've developed that so that it pushes through things directly, and we're really big on that customer journey, and it's really let us build custom journeys for every different type of customer to make sure that everyone's tailored to the way that they want to be tailored. But actually, in our back office, nothing's changed. We still go through the pipeline, we still go from start to finish, move the statuses along. Nothing's changed on our end, but the customer's getting a completely tailored journey on their end, and I think it's absolutely amazing.
It is, and it's amazing for that end customer, and that's going to make them appreciate the journey a lot more. It's a win-win all round. while we're talking, I keep my eyes keep moving down to this. Got your questions ready for Elton and Remy. So look, Remy's really done a lot with it. So feel free to put those questions in, and at the end of the session, we'll be very happy to answer them. I'm aware that not everybody will be watching this live, so we will keep checking back to the post as well. So if you do put questions in there, then I'm sure the pair of us will be very happy to come back and sort of make any comments. So that's really good. Remy, these are the sort of automations you've already put in. As we've spoken about, the possibilities are literally endless. So I wonder what other automations you're already thinking about that you could set up with the Zapier link, and whether you've got any in mind.
We've literally built a notepad of it now at this point, Elton. It's gotten to the point where our team, they don't necessarily understand, let's say, Zapier, but we've got a Zapier champion in the company. They know how to set the Zaps up, and people will come out and go, oh, why don't we automate this? Why don't we do that? So many possibilities have opened up for us. One that we're really, really keen on getting set up. Business Pilot has the great purchase order system within it that links to the contracts. We like our suppliers, but some of them don't always come back to us on time, and they don't update us accordingly. So we're looking to completely automate that process. When we send a purchase order out, if it's not confirmed, again, using these conditional elements, if it's not confirmed within 3 days and it's still showing as provisional, send the supplier an automated email, chase them for it. If we do a delivery tomorrow, send them an automated email going, are we actually still getting this tomorrow? And it's taken our team's minds off of that element. They no longer have to think about doing these chases, and they can get on with more meaningful things than writing the same email 50, 60, 70 times, depending on the amount of POs that we've got coming in. And at the same time, it's gotten our suppliers used to a specific process, hopefully, that this is the way Smart Vision work, this is the way we take our purchase orders. And hopefully, if they keep getting these chaser emails, they get better on their dates. So
yeah, the requirement for it hopefully becomes less.
Exactly.
That's the thing. And so again, for people watching who don't already use Business Pilot, there's a lot of sort of terms used in that last bit of like some bits in Business Pilot and some bits in Zapier. What I really liked, as somebody who knows both sides, is how the two are working together to completely customize your processes and also the journey that the supplier and the customer are having. It's how the two are sort of status progressions there tying in, and it's just fantastic. The other thing that I really liked was when you said, people don't necessarily know how to use like Zapier or what it can do, but they're just asking the question. That to me is key. I've always been a big fan of Disney's Imagineering, and what they do is essentially they invent things. So especially let's look at like the theme parks, and they never start with, how does a roller coaster work? They always just start with a dream, and then they come back to, okay, so now how do we make that happen? And I think that's really relevant to this, that we should be getting a culture where we say, could this happen? Or how do we do this? We're not assuming what is today. We're inventing what can be tomorrow. And I think Business Pilot, Zapier, these tools give you that ability. This is where innovation comes in within our installation companies, and obviously using innovative tools in order to do it. So, okay. What I want to do, first of all, Remy, I'm going to pull you back in, if it's all right, on the questions and answers at the end, because I think you'll be better than me. So I'll pull you back in on that. What I want to share now is actually go to the sort of the Business Pilot page on Zapier's website. So what we've got here, for anybody who's looking at it at the first time, is on Zapier, every app has its own page. So here I can scroll down. By the way, it says beta currently. It's just like having your P plates on. So when you're watching this video, that might have already gone, but it'll be on there for the next 3 months. So expect that to disappear. It doesn't change any of the functionality that you get. So don't be concerned if you do see that. And where we start is we have BP and connect it with, and it's already suggesting some. So I might say, for example, Zahara. I know one Business Pilot customer, they're part of the big group, and the group uses Zahara for its purchase orders. So quite simply, I can see now what can connect. I want to get across here is, let's say on Business Pilot, I create a new purchase order. Then on Zahara, create purchase order. So you can see straight away that this is just a real simple example of how I might say, I don't want people doing things in Business Pilot and also having to do them in another system. So this is a really good way of doing it. I might say, for example, it could be, where do we have to go? We have to go back each time. So when looking at these, I can look at all these other apps. So let's go into app integrations. And here you find the 7,000 and they're listed by app categories. So it doesn't matter now. If I wanted to do something crazy like, I don't know, what did I think of yesterday? So I'm going to give you a silly idea just, well, because it's silly. So where's Spotify? I had that one come up. So Spotify or YouTube, and I could literally start saying, have Business Pilot, when there's a new lead, play a song on Spotify. So I just want to give you an idea for quite how random you could go with this, but also just how many apps there actually are on there, over 7,000 that you can now connect, obviously, with it. So let's go back to Business Pilot. You just search it. The link obviously is on the website anyway, but you can just search for Business Pilot on Zapier. Here we go. So one of the other ones that I really like, CreatorMate. So CreatorMate is a video, so a dynamic video platform. And on there, I can have various elements of a video created from dynamic elements. What that means is, just like any other template, I could have a person's name, I could have their location. I could even take what their main interest was in the Business Pilot lead. So when I had a lead onto Business Pilot, I could use the information in the lead to automatically create a video personalized to that particular customer or that particular prospect lead and send it to them by email. So imagine quite what that does to you against your competition. If the minute they become a lead on Business Pilot, all of a sudden they have a video, and maybe it's got a little preset bit with the MD saying, thanks for looking at us. But it's got lots of information in the video personal to them and how that would make you stand out from the rest. And there's literally thousands of different options you can do with that. So what I would do is just encourage you to come on to Zapier and actually have a look at what those options could be. Okay, so I'm going to come now to questions and actually look at what we can do there. So just bear with. Okay, so Q&A. I just wonder if we've got any questions coming through. I brought Remy back in. So Nathan Bushell is saying, can I find online help so that he can make the most of it? So the good news here is for anybody already using Business Pilot, clearly there's the knowledge base and all of the YouTube stuff. So you can obviously find help on Business Pilot, and Business Pilot users already know that. Well, guess what? In the same way, Zapier's got exactly the same stuff. I think they call theirs the Zapier Academy, but they've got all those videos. However, there's even more than that. Because there's a big user base, there's lots of videos on YouTube all about what you can do with Zapier. Now, if you want to bring that closer into how it would work specifically with Business Pilot, then there's links available on the Business Pilot website as well to show you exactly how you can do that. And then the community for sharing ideas, that's the Business Pilot community. We want to see you over in the BP community over on Facebook and sharing all of your ideas there. So, Remy, have you got anything to add into that?
Yeah, so actually, when you go into Zapier and you go into the front portal, they've recently added a new feature, the Zapier AI element. And what you can actually do, instead of building the Zap, just tell it what you want. So as Elton was going through the Zahara, creating it on my screen, I've just typed in, when I create a new purchase order in Business Pilot, create one in Xero for me. I've clicked go, and it's built the Zap for me instantly.
So clever. It really is really clever, this stuff. So I had a question: can we connect it with Facebook? Well, you'd expect the answer to be yes. Let me give you some examples, though, to make it a bit more real. So we could have, let's say you run Facebook Messenger to collect leads, or you might even have Facebook lead ads or Instagram lead ad type ads. It can pull that information across using Zapier and inject that in as an inquiry into Business Pilot. However, what you could also do is say, well, what if they've already become a lead, and then add them into a custom audience for Facebook, so that now during that process where they've become a lead, they're now considering you and possibly 2 or 3 other companies that do what you do. When they go to Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, they're seeing your advert specifically just because they're one of your leads. So you don't have to show these ads to everybody. They're showing up because they're one of your leads in Business Pilot. That, to me, is a phenomenal way of making sure you end up with a higher conversion rate. Remy, I've got a question coming for you. How easy is it to create the Zaps on the installer side? I think you've alluded to it, but yeah, how easy?
They are honestly so easy to put together. Like I've said, you've got the AI side that you can just chuck your question at it and go, I want to do this, 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 and this, and it will build that Zap for you. Or it is as easy, literally, as drag and drop. You say, when I create a new lead, do this in this app for me. And it is the interface of Zapier is really, really simple to use. You can use it on an iPad, you can use it on a laptop. And my colleague, she's been sitting watching me do these and gone, actually, I can start doing these myself. And once you get into that Zapier mood in the company, people just start making their own Zaps for everything, because it doesn't have to be company wide. It can be something, actually, me as a BP user, I like to do this one little thing that the rest of the company don't like. I can still do that for myself. Let's say if I get mentioned in a note, it sends me a Teams message. That's something that I personally like, and we've set that up, and normally I use it. So they are really, really easy to set up. And again, you've got the entire BP community that hopefully, if you've got any ideas, people can jump in and comment and help you out.
100%. And I think that's the key to it. So obviously, we'll share the knowledge base link anyway in the comments, so people will be able to go back to that as well. So let me just summarize where we are. So we'll have a look and say, well, in summary, remember, a Zap contains a trigger and an action. I think that's when we understand the concepts, it makes it easier. So it's a Zap is a trigger and an action. You can have as many of those Zaps as you like. Each time it runs, it's a task. That's going to become important because of the way you get task allowances. So that's something to be aware of. Zaps can have multiple steps, as we've said. A Zap can search and it can filter. So don't think of it as being literally a linear line. There's lots that we can do in the middle to make it clever. And it's got its built-in apps to explore as well. The key thing, you can get really, really creative with Zaps. So there's been a saying for a while now saying, is there an app for that? I think we should be saying, is there a Zap for that? So that's what I'd like to leave you with today. Thank you very much for watching the video. Remy, especially, thank you for coming and joining me. It's just amazing to see what you guys are doing with it, and I really appreciate it.
Personally, it's gone from, can BP do this, to of course it can. It can do everything. We don't think, oh, it'd be nice if BP could do this. It can now. It can link to everything, and it can do anything.
That's a perfect sign off. Thank you.